Don't touch mine.
I could literally get kicked by playing this guy.
What?
Hello, I'm Harriotskelli and this is Overwatch. Not to be confused with League of Legends. God, I hate Riven. Heroes of the Storm. Shouldn't Tyrael do a lot more damage than this? Or Dota. Actually, I think this is the wrong clip. No, seriously, Blizzard cannot stress enough that this is not actually a MOBA. They even had a weekly brawl to show some of the differences, not including lack of awareness, vision control, and rages, of course. It's an interesting thing for them to focus on, though, considering the similarities to other games. TF2. But you know, this is coming from another YouTuber making another Overwatch review, so... Anyway, let's talk about Overwatch, leaving the other games behind. You have a large roster of champions, characters, heroes, each with a unique set of skills. I'm not going to go over all of them, I'm not exactly an expert, but I will go over Ana, the newest addition. First though, I want to talk about the key bindings, because I'm going to go over Ana's abilities. Basically, they don't make a lot of sense, a lot of the time. I mean, I've gotten used to them, but this could have been a lot easier. Tracer's blink ability, which is her shift ability, goes off when I use the right click. Pharah's passive ability, hover jets, also goes off when I use the right click, which is normally used by holding the spacebar. I just needed to be able to bind abilities per character. Ana's weapon is a scoped rifle that shoots nanobiotic darts, damaging enemies, healing allies, and is similar to her E ability, a grenade that does the same, including amplifying the heals on allies and disabling heals on enemies. Her shift ability is a sleep dart for a quick stun on enemies. Doesn't use the right click. Finally, her ultimate ability, which when used on an ally, increases speed, damage, and damage resistance. It doesn't heal, and it normally won't save a person who's about to die. Ana is a prime example of how Overwatch works as a whole, and I personally like her, being able to heal selectively from a distance, all the while being an annoyance to the enemy team. Perfect support material. Each hero has some customizable features, emotes, voice lines, sprays, and skins. Most of these are cool little gifts for just playing the game. Some do require you to have purchased the Origins edition though, but these features aren't going to win you any games, unless you're a witch. Most of the skins are just recolors. That's cool, kind of like shiny Pokemon. But some are big changes, from outfit changes to even new particles and sound.
You have been judged.
Each hero is suited for different situations, different playstyles, giving the player the option to play to their strengths, or to use the hero they identified with as a teenager, or to even practice and work on the hero that is like the personality of. S. In saying that, although the heroes have individual styles and feels about them, there's not a lot of backstory. Yes, there were some cool little cinematics that get us really pumped about it, but they didn't say a lot, and what they did say left much to be desired. But that's a different kettle of fish. Mainly the biggest issue I take away from the whole thing is that most of the characters come from different countries and yet all speak English. Completely unrequired, due to the simplification of all in-game communication, I might add. This normally wouldn't bother me, just like how all the aliens speak English in Doctor Who. It did, however, get to me when some of the characters speak their native tongue and they do it terribly. I know I'm going to sound like a weeaboo, but the main person I had issues with was Genji, and that's only because I'm actually learning Japanese. I know that Diva has Korean lines, Zarya has Russian lines, Widow has French lines, so if you know these languages, let me know if their voice actors are actually good with their pronunciation or not. Zenyatta is a robot though, so he gets a pass for learning all languages, but his pronunciation better be shit, like Google Translate. I mean, I wouldn't bring this up if it didn't annoy me to the point of having to install the Japanese language packs, bearing in mind that even in that, some lines are still the same. Basically, if I could choose to have anyone speak their native language, I would be happy, considering at least half of them are supposed to have come from non-English speaking countries. At the end of the day, Overwatch is actually a really fun game. If you like first-person shooters or you have several friends that do, it's a well-rounded team game for all your friends to play. Blizzard is still working on some of the features though, nerfs and buffs and such, as it does also have a competitive scene. The biggest change I can think of recently is limiting to one hero each in competitive matches, which is honestly fair when you can barely or with two of the same defensive heroes unless you have perfect communication with three or more of your teammates. But of course, that's based on your average gameplay, as each match normally needs to have 12 people in it, and most people don't have 11 other friends who want to play this all the time. You will usually need a match with some other random people. This can become a problem, as seen in games like League, gamers can be very petty. Luckily though, unlike League, TF2 or Heroes of the Storm, this game isn't free to play. You have to pay to play this. Only once, of course. And it does eliminate some of the worst of the lot. On top of all of that, you can report players that violate Blizzard's terms of use and code of conduct very easily. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Would play again. Honestly, 10 out of 10. I don't really take into account the visual and audio aspects of a game when I talk about whether or not I would continue playing it. A lot of the time it's simply gameplay or a good story, and Overwatch doesn't have a good story because it doesn't really have a story at all. But of course, it's really good as just a game to play. So yeah, I'll probably be streaming this from time to time after this goes up. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the next Harriotskelli Plays, where I play a random game in my library. Bye bye. S.